Well, it's the final race of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship of the season. Rain is starting to come down here at Silverstone, Lyndsay, and John Langridge ahead of Will Blackwell-Chambers, not only in the points but on the grid as well.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how this season's going to go, and I just want to catch up with our last 2-year championship in a row. Now, Will, you're no stranger to pressure at all. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, there is no pressure. When you're chasing, it's an awful lot easier. It's not been the most fortunate of years. This weekend possibly could have gone better, but yeah, we're chasing. We'll see what we can do, but it's an awful lot of points to try and catch.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. But that doesn't mean that the whole thing is done and dusted. We all know you are a man that has magic behind you. So is there any tricks you think you can pull out?
Well, my trick from last year's in the wrong race. He's already been in the B race, so my favourite Mr. Water dumping systems failed me. My teammate's already blown up his diff in the second race, which didn't help me, so I'm kind of out of tricks at this point.
Oh man, well, you're still going to give us an exciting race, especially with this rain coming. Have you got any thoughts?
Fingers are crossed, legs are crossed. Please, rain, please, so much.
Honestly, I'm kind of hoping for it myself. I think it's going to make an even more interesting race than what I'm expecting so far. So for the last and final time this year, I'm going to hand it straight over to Andy McEwan.
Thanks, Lyndsay. So it all boils down then to this, the final 20-minute race of the season. Here is the grid. Again, it's based on the race 2A result. So it sees pole position taken by Matt Luff, Fraser Fenwick alongside him, Ali Bray third, and John Langridge fourth, with Blackwell-Chambers fifth. Blackwell-Chambers mathematically can still win the title, but realistically, he needs to win the race, he needs the fastest lap, and he needs to hope that something dramatic happens to John Langridge. So for Langridge, it's all about survival. If he finishes this race somewhere in the top 10, it should be enough to guarantee the championship. The final race of the season then is underway, and a good start made from the inside of row number 1 by Fraser Fenwick. Not a great start by Luff from the outside of row 1, and Ali Bray immediately moves to challenge anyway. It's actually Bray that gets into the first corner first, and immediately contact for John Langridge. What was I saying about how he had to survive this race? He gets away with it, but first corner contact was not in the script for Langridge. Has that cost him momentum? Let's hope it hasn't damaged the car. Blackwell-Chambers goes to the outside there into Village Corner as they all come through this first sequence for the first time in this final race of the year. Caught a glimpse there of the light blue and white number 4 of Adam Bessel. He fell down the order somewhat towards the end of the previous race. That's why he's mid-grid for this one, having been a front runner all weekend. On board with Langridge though, he's ahead of Blackwell-Chambers. Check. He's still in the race, check, and he's actually still inside the top 5, and he might be about to challenge for a podium because it's side by side in front of him. Look, Matt Luff about to lose out to Fraser Fenwick for second place, and Langridge will try to follow him through if he can. It's Jason Greytrex, the red and white car, immediately behind him. So again, somehow through it all, Langridge seems to come out with this little buffer over Will Blackwell-Chambers, which he's had on several occasions this weekend, which has proved to be very, very handy for him. Onto the brakes, around the outside of Matt Luff goes John Langridge. That gives him the inside for Club Corner, and I think he should be able to go ahead. Luff's out wide. Can he get back in line before Greytrex gets there? That's the question. Jack Brewer, the yellow and red car. There is Adam Bessel. Now, he's on to watch here, I think, in the 4 car. As I said, front runner all weekend. He should be able to improve upon 17th on the grid. It's Ali Bray, though, that leads the way. Fraser Fenwick second. John Langridge goes third now at the inside of Matt Luff through the first corner, so he completes the move that he started about half a lap ago. Then here comes Blackwell-Chambers. He's got to try and get ahead of these two before Langridge escapes up the road, but he's got Joe Wiggin going up the inside of him. They're all skating around under braking, and Steve Foden goes around the outside. There was contact there, I think. And where did Blackwell-Chambers end up? Will Blackwell-Chambers is not there with them. He's gone off the road. That surely is it now for the championship hopes of Will Blackwell-Chambers. He has gone from this picture. He should be in amongst this group, but contact at the right-hander at Village, and there you can see him in the background. He's well down the order, possibly outside of the top 10. And now surely that is a mountain too high to climb for Blackwell-Chambers to get back on terms with Langridge and then overtake him, and then hope to get enough cars between him and John for him to steal the championship away. It's not over yet, of course, but the number 1 car of Will Blackwell-Chambers has fallen a lot further down the order than he wanted to be, that is for sure. Through Stowe they go. He's going to try and fend off that particular group of cars before he can even think about moving forwards. Bray leads the way, Fenwick second then. And these, Ali Bray could make it 3 different winners from the weekend in this rate, which has not happened for a while. In fact, I'm trying to think if we've had a time all year when we've had 3 different winners in the same weekend. I don't think we have, no. So if Ali Bray can hang on, possibly are out to do something that we haven't seen so far this year. Steve Foden at the inside of Will Hayden. These two have been in the thick of the action. Good to see Steve showing some more pace in this race, though. I know it's there in him, but he's struggled a bit for outright speed this weekend. So too is this man, Joe Wiggin, who in the number 41 Mac-Attack racing car is an 8-time winner this year. This could be the first weekend at which he hasn't won a race, remarkably, since Anglesey earlier on this year. That was a long time ago, so let's see whether or not he can get himself at least into podium contention. On board with Adrian Burge now, sailing up the inside of him then was the number 28 car of Jack Lemmer, who was promoted from the B grid after race number 2. Here is John Langridge then, champion-elect, turns his way through Stowe Corner. He's the loneliest he's been all weekend, I think. He's not really that close to the top 2. He's got a bit of breathing room behind him, and that's just how he likes it, because this race, above all else, cannot afford a non-finish. A non-finish could prove disastrous. It may not be the end of the world if Blackwell Chambers is mired down in the midfield, but if Will is able to get through and challenge for a victory, then all of a sudden a non-finish could prove to be incredibly costly for Langridge. The fact that he's in a bit of isolation now is fantastic news. There in the background is Blackwell Chambers, so he's still outside of the top 10 by the looks of it. We've got him in 13th as he crosses the line. Just behind Dave Turton, I think it is Dave Turton having one of his best races, not his absolute best race of the season so far. Back with Burge, the inside of him now is going Jack Lemmer. He went up the inside of a few corners ago. Gives you a flavour of just how intense those midfield battles tend to be. Side-by-side stuff here, Blackwell Chambers trying to muscle his way through. Dave Turton is the next man in front of him. Behind him is the number 19 of Adam Sparrow, the purple car. Back with Burge. Oh, and on the grass this time around is Jack Lemmer. So instead of going up the inside at Chapel, he runs out wide and actually hands the place straight back to Burge as they go onto the Hanger Straight. Here comes Blackwell Chambers. Now he's up the inside of Turton. And that might bring Sparrow with him, but Blackwell Chambers doesn't particularly care about that. He just needs to make progress. That's one position gained. It's only a 20-minute race. We've had about 5 minutes of that race already, and this man, John Langridge, just needs to bring it home. He's in 3rd position at the moment. There is Blackwell Chambers then up to 12th as we speak. Seb Fisher is his next target. He's in the firing line here. Chambers, you can see the damage to the front left corner. It looked as though he got into the side of possibly Steve Foden going into into Village, excuse me. I don't know whether that was because Foden turned across him or because Blackwell Chambers had outbraked himself anyway. He had Wiggin up the inside, so he was in the middle 3 wide, and that's not usually a pleasant place to be. He hasn't damaged the car mechanically, so it is just bodywork, but either way the damage has been done really in the loss of positions that he incurred there. So through Chapel he goes. And, well, he's got to try and catch Seb Fisher first before he can overtake him. John Langridge here quite content, I think, to sit in 3rd position as he looks to get ahead of the 2 in front if an opportunity arises, but I don't think he's going to take any huge risks. He'd be silly to do so really, and risk throwing all of his hard work throughout the season away. Blackwell Chambers and John Langridge, who started the season with contact at Brands Hatch, remember, in that dramatic 2nd race at the season opening weekend. A weekend in which Blackwell Chambers, although he came off better in that race, only had 1 podium all weekend. He did leave Brands Hatch as the championship leader. It really was a Pembrey next time out that Langridge started to do something about that, with 2 race victories going to him in South Wales. Blackwell Chambers winning the middle race. Then Blackwell Chambers went on a bit of a winning spree actually. He won 4 of the next 6 races. He won 2 at Cadwell and 2 at Anglesey. The other 2, well, one of them was won by Adam Bessel, and John Langridge picked up a victory at Cadwell as well. And then since then, it's been all about Joe Wiggin, in all honesty, as far as race victories have been concerned, with the championship battle sort of going on behind him. Wiggin, though, despite a slightly disappointing final meeting of the year here at Silverstone, should be able to do enough to retain 3rd in the championship, which for a debut effort is not bad at all. And if he's back next year, absolutely championship material is Joe Wiggin. John Langridge, you can see from the digital readout on his steering wheel, we're 7 minutes and 50 seconds into this race now, so we are ticking towards halfway, which is past 1/3 distance. In the background, look, Blackwell Chambers is losing positions. That's Adam Sparrow going through on the inside, and there were more coming as well. So Blackwell Chambers Sadly, he's going backwards, not forwards at this stage. He's still outside the top 10. On board with Adrian Burge, who is going forwards. He was driving around the outside of someone down the Hanger Straight. The leaders, though, starting to get themselves together. Now, Langridge is still potentially in a precarious position here because whilst he was in third place with no pressure from behind, he could just sit and keep a watching brief. But now the leaders are battling, that's holding everybody up, it's bringing Matt Luff into play, and all of a sudden Langridge has someone behind him. Now, if I were John Langridge, I would wave Matt Luff through. I wouldn't be all that fussed about finishing on the podium, but there's a reason I'm a commentator and not a racing driver. I know that John Langridge will not roll over and let anybody through, even if he can afford to, as far as the points are concerned. He's going to want to hang on to this third position. But what does he do? Does he take the risk? Does he try and buy into the fight for the race lead, or does he just mind his P's and Q's and collect the points? It's so tense still, isn't it? Even in this position where he and Blackwell Chambers are actually together on track, there's still a lot to think about here for John Langridge. He heads down the Hanger Straight. Joe Wiggin is now at the front of the next queue, by the way, in 5th position, but you can see the distance between 4th position, which is Matt Luff, and 5th place Joe Wiggin. That's unlikely to be bridged, that gap, I'd say, by Wiggin now. Down the hill then, on board with Langridge, looking back at Matt Luff, who's not really close enough to challenge right now, so for the time being, Langridge won't be feeling like he's under too much pressure. But, apart from the pressure he's putting on himself not to make a mistake, of course, which can still happen. Sometimes these final 10 minutes of the year, I mean, this will be the longest 10 minutes now of John Langridge's life, because actually things have calmed down, and that's not always good psychologically, because you have a tendency to let your foot off the gas a bit, so to speak. No one in that group behind has left their foot off the gas, though, are they? Because it's all starting to kick off. I think Will Hayden's got himself into 6th. Yes, he has, with then Jack Brewer into 7th position. Again, this is probably the highest up the order we've seen Jack in an A race so far this year. Great stuff there. Nice to see a few drivers ending their seasons with particularly good results. Fraser Fenwick, definitely one of those drivers. He got his first win in race number 1. Followed it up then with a 2nd place in race 2. I think 2nd again at the moment, just ahead of the championship leader John Langridge. And down the Hanger Straight again underneath the circuit access bridge. Langridge closing in the tow to try and conserve this now very healthy championship lead. Stoke Corner they could. We get the feeling that most of the drivers, if not all of the drivers in this leading quartet, are quite content just to see the next portion of the race out. I have every expectation that it will all kick off in the final few laps, but that might be the point at which we see this man, John Langridge, just bail out of it all, quite frankly. Let's see. He would love to end the season with a podium, no doubt about it. Love it even more to end it with a race victory, but he needs neither of those two things in order to wrap the championship. 3rd place is more than enough as it stands to snatch this championship away from the double reigning champ Will Blackwell Chambers. Down to Abbey Corner, through go the leading 4. There's Wiggin, not escaping in 5th position from Hayden and Brewer behind. And there's Blackwell Chambers. He's lost even more ground, has he now? He's still behind Adam Sparrow, so there is Blackwell Chambers, the number 1 car, just ahead of Dave Turton, who he overtook several laps ago. Hasn't been able to get any further, unfortunately. Wiggin under all sorts of pressure from Will Hayden and one of the AB Motorsport cars that seem to be going particularly well here, don't they? With Ali Bray himself up there in the lead group now. Dave Turton behind Blackwell Chambers, but yeah, it's all pretty static in that group as well, isn't it? It's very close, but there's not really a huge amount of changing positions going on. Just in front of them there is, though. You've got Seb Fisher there going up the inside of Adam Bessel. The black and gold number 77 is Steve Foden having a peek to the inside of Jason Greatrex. That move doesn't come off, but Fisher does gain a position. So Seb Fisher picking his way up the order. Well, Chambers, though, even with a slipstream look, can't stay with Adam Sparrow, who, with the greatest of respect, you would normally expect Will Blackwell Chambers to have a bit of a pace advantage over. But I don't think everything is quite right with that number 1 car, or maybe he's realised now that, you know what, I'm not going to win the championship. There's no chance now of getting up to challenge John Langridge, and he's maybe just seeing the laps out. But it would be a shame for his championship to sort of fizzle out in that way, because it's been a very, very strong season for Will Blackwell Chambers. Apart from Joe Wiggin, he's won more races than anybody else. and has been a force to be reckoned with, particularly in the middle part of the season before Joe Wiggin went on his winning spree from Snetterton onwards. It was Blackwell Chambers that was building up all of the momentum. But once Wiggin started winning, that sort of complicated things at the front, didn't it? Right, Langridge then has decided to go on the attack. He clearly feels comfortable enough racing these drivers. He goes to the inside of Fraser Fenwick in the AB Motorsport car into Stowe Corner and looks as though he's going to go through. So he's now starting to break up this AB Motorsport party. I don't know what Ali Bray has done to those cars, but they are remarkably quick this weekend. But John Langridge quick enough to move ahead of one of them into second position. While Chambers still not going anywhere. He's not even close enough really to attack Adam Sparrow. Now this was the danger for Langridge, you see. He's getting himself involved here in a battle that he doesn't need to. He's going for second place, but here comes Matt Luff to give him an assisting shove down the pit straight, and Luff I think is going to follow him through to third place. So unfortunately for Fenwick, he's off the podium now for the first time almost all weekend. So Langridge moves into P2, but that's just afforded Ali Bray himself a little bit of breathing room now out in front. John Langridge heads through the tight right-hander at Village. Now, at least he got some clean air in front of him now, so I suppose he can get his head down and put his foot down, try and put in some quick lap times. He already has the fastest lap in this race as well, by the way, which is worth 2 championship points should he need them. Langridge, though, putting himself in the hornet's nest now, you'd imagine. That side-by-side action, one touch, one bang of wheels, one broken steering arm, one puncture. It could end it all. I mean, it's unlikely that Blackwell Chambers would be able to score a huge amount of points from this race, but as soon as he finds if Langridge were out of the race, I'm sure that would rather change Blackwell Chambers' attitude. At the moment, he seems a bit defeated, but Langridge needs to keep himself in the race just to be absolutely sure of this. Maybe he feels he can escape from the front, but no one's been able to do that really so far this weekend, so this is a brave tactic here from John Langridge, but a refreshing one. I'm not complaining about it. It's nice to see a man that's on the verge of winning the championship still getting stuck in. All too often we see drivers in John's position backing out and just seeing it home, but he's very much still getting stuck into the battle here. He's in second place then, Luff third, fourth place for Fenwick. The 3 drivers we're focusing on now. See how close together they are there. Fenwick almost into the back of Matt Luff as they, both of them I think, snatch the brakes slightly into Village. It's Luff that runs wide though, so Fenwick might just see that as an opportunity to get inside into Chapel Curve, but it wasn't really close enough. And you don't do a huge amount of braking into that corner, at least if you're on the racing line, which Matt Luff was. But that's just dropped them both now off the tail of Langridge, who is picking up a whiff of a slipstream here from Ali Bray, the race leader. So Langridge might not be done yet with overtaking people. Behind, you can see Blackwell Chambers sort of in no man's land now, but the queue of cars fighting for fourth, being led by Joe Wiggin, is getting ever larger because Seb Fisher has now joined in that party. So that's turning into a pretty spicy battle too, but John Langridge is on terms now with the leader of the race, Ali Bray. Neither of them have won a race yet this weekend. Bray hasn't won a race all year. The 2 drivers at the back of the group have been our first 2 winners though. Matt Luff in race 2, Fraser Fenwick, the 263 car, in race number 1. One of these 4 drivers, you'd imagine, is going to sign out their 2019 season with a race victory, but who will it be? Will it be a first-time winner in the shape of Ali Bray? Will it be John Langridge, the champion, who maybe could be able to take his 4th win of the year? Will we see a second win for the weekend for the 2 drivers, one of the 2 drivers behind? At the moment, the man on the move really is John Langridge. He looks the quickest in this group, but just as I say that, Matt Luff tries to come along and spoil the party and attacks John Langridge for second place. They almost lean on each other. Langridge sees off the challenge. Another chance though where things could have gone wrong there for the number 5 car. I'm sure is being driven in a fairly circumspect way by Langridge. I think if he sees someone make a real dive, he's not going to slam the door in their face and risk contact, but he knows that the safest place here, there are 2 safe places in this group. There's the absolute safest place, I suppose, in 4th position with no one behind him. The other safest position to be in is the race lead, because at least then you can control the race from there. Right now he's stuck in the middle, and maybe that's why he's feeling so keen to get on with this now, because he feels that he's in the danger zone. Fraser Fenwick having a look at the inside of Matt Luff for 3rd. They turn through Vale. I think Luff will fend him off, but then Fenwick gets the switchback manoeuvre through Club. That was a really nicely executed bit of driving. The leader's a nose to tail, but it's side by side for third position. And has Fenwick gone through? I think he might have done. Back with Language though, across the start-finish line. Down to Abbey Corner. And they're starting to pair off now as we go into the closing stages of this race. Ali Bray, the leader, Language second, then we get back to Fenwick, who is now third. That takes the heat off John Language for a second. Might be his opportunity now to wrestle the lead away from Ali Bray, because it won't be long, I don't think, before Fenwick and Luff are back with him. So this could be his best opportunity, actually, to go on the attack. Lock up from Luff in the background. He tries to take third position back again. Language in the tow. We should see the slipstream at work here as they go down the hanger straight towards Stowe Corner. And is he about to pull out and make a move? He thinks about it, he doesn't commit to the inside. Goes to the outside line instead then. And John Language really wants to round the season off here with a race victory, and he's got a good exit from Stowe Corner. This could be his opportunity to do it. He's on the outside down to Vale, but he's going through anyway. He's got most of his car in front. If he's later on the brakes than Ali Bray, he might be able to make it stick, but Bray is super late on the brakes and gets into the left-hander ahead. He's wide though, that puts him on a tight line for the right-hander. He stops the car virtually on the apex of the corner. That backs Language up into the cars behind him, and that was another very, very tense moment for John Language, who so nearly had his car given a whack from behind. They're on to the final lap of the race though, and the last lap of the season. Ali Bray looking for his first win of the year. Fraser Fenwick and Matt Luff looking for their second. John Language just looking to try and win the championship in this final race, and they're three abreast into Village Corner. Fraser Fenwick goes around the outside line. He might go for the race lead here. He is. He's alongside Ali Bray for the race lead with just over half a lap to go. All of this happening right in front of John Language, who I think is, well, he's not bailing out, is he? He's back up the inside of Matt Luff there for third position. Four drivers as one in true MX-5 Championship fashion are about to settle this in a real ding-dong run to the flag. Oh, there's contact there between Fenwick and Bray as they went down the back straight. Bray's muscled his way back up the inside line though. John Language is on the inside of Matt Luff as well. Side by side for the lead, side by side for third position. Three more corners to go and Bray has got the lead back, but he's sideways at Stowe Corner. Might run a bit wide. Language gets a nerve from Matt Luff and goes for the race lead. John Language from third to first in the penultimate corner, and he's gone past all of them. Phenomenal driving from Language. Oh, contact right behind him. Sideways for Ali Bray, he saves it, but that could so easily have taken out John Language. As it is, he will win the final race of the season, and John Language in spectacular fashion wins the 2019 Mazda MX-5 Championship. A remarkable season, a remarkable final race of the year, a phenomenal final lap of racing there that really has epitomised the sort of action we've enjoyed all season, and it's Language who comes out on top. Luff is second, Fenwick third, Bray in fourth, and Will Hayden fifth, with Joe Wiggin, Jason Greytrex, Jack Brewer, Seb Fisher and Steve Foden rounding out the top 10. Blackwell Chambers was 12th in the final race of the season. Not enough, unfortunately, to take the championship. That will go to John Language, but Blackwell Chambers was a fierce rival for John all season long. In the end, though, it is John Language who takes his first ever Mazda MX-5 Championship.
John Language, 2019 BRSCC Mazda MX-5 champion. How does that feel?
That's quite nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah?
It's been a tough few weeks because Will is so hard to beat. So hard to beat, like consistently, to catch up the points loss we had after Anglesey. And we just kept chipping away, and that race was fantastic. Just now, the Blink car was so good, and it was, I think after the second race we pretty much had it, and so I was able to just drive freely, and that was mega.
That was good to watch as well. The last couple of laps, could just see you chipping away, going at it bit by bit, coming into the last corner each lap. A little dive here, a little dive there. That was heart-pumping stuff, John.
Yeah, I was trying to work them out a bit because they have different strengths in different areas, and those guys were getting quite feisty down the back straight. And I thought, I could sneak round the inside here and had a bash, and it all panned out lovely.
Yeah, and on the last corner, what a great move.
Yeah, Hans, you know, I'm really pleased with that, really pleased, and big respect to Ali Bray and his boys because they drove very cleanly. I'm sure it'll be a great year next year.
Going to come back to defend your title?
I think I'm going to have some sleep first and generally enjoy it for a minute, and then, yeah, we'll see.
Well, John, it's been brilliant watching you all season. Great racing. Well-deserved race victory and championship victory. Well done.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mega. Mega.
Brilliant.